to speak on, and the thing that just kept coming into my heart was to prepare yourself, prepare yourself, prepare yourself. That just kept coming into my spirit, was prepare yourself. And before we started service, we was talking about different political things in this world and the mess that it's in and stuff, and really nothing really matters. It doesn't matter if America is bombed tomorrow, if our economy falls apart next month. It doesn't really matter. All that really matters is prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. Yeah, we could say, well, we need to prepare ourselves for the things that are coming. Yeah, well, yeah, we could. But really what we need to prepare ourselves more than anything is to be ready for Jesus Christ. Because it really doesn't matter. I mean, if they destroy our bodies, if nothing happens and everything goes on fine and happy-go-lucky and nothing ever happens to this nation and everything's fine and we live this life and we lay our head down one day and we don't wake back up and this life is over for us, then all that mattered was prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. We're going to meet God. We're going to meet Him. Each and every one of us, we have an appointment to meet. Everybody has an appointment to meet. And that appointment, there's one appointment that we're not going to escape, and that's death. Yeah? It's appointed unto man wants to die. We're going to die. It's just it's a realization of life that we have to reckon with. We are going to die. It's just, and sometimes we're young and we don't really think about that, or sometimes we get a little bit older and we start thinking about it more. But the fact of the matter is, we will face death. It's coming. It's coming. And so that's what the Lord put in my heart was, prepare yourself. We've got to be ready for that. We've got to be ready for that appointment. When we die, are we ready? And the way and the thing that came in my heart was, well, is your heart. We've got to keep our hearts pure. That's the thing we got to work on. That's the thing we got to work on. Yeah, we can work on the natural and preparing for the destruction and the collapse of this nation, and we can prepare for that. What good's that going to do? What good's that going to do us if we're not focusing on the thing that really matters? Because it's not about survival. It's not about survival. It's not about trying to hang on to this life as long as we can and survive this life. It's about saving our souls. And the only way we're going to be at peace when we meet God is our heart. We've got to have a clean heart. We've got to have a pure heart. And the only way to have a pure heart, the thing we got to do is, there's a lot of churches, and a lot of churches have laws and rules and guidelines. Well, our church, we believe this. And this church believes that. And we believe you got to do this, and we believe you got to do that. But the ultimate thing is, it doesn't matter what this church believes. It doesn't matter what this church believes. What matters is your heart. That's what God's looking at. He ain't looking at, are you obeying some kind of a man-made rule? He's looking at your heart. How is your heart? In other words, God has placed something in us. And we know right from wrong. I mean, we don't have to memorize the Bible. We don't have to memorize some people think you got to be some kind of a scholar. Well, such and such chapter 14 verses 5 says, oh, I didn't know that one. I got to learn that one and start doing that. No. You want to know, if we want to know God, we can look inside of our own heart. He placed something in us to know Him. He placed something in. Let's read something. I want to read something. Jeremiah chapter 31. This is a promise from Jesus. Jeremiah chapter 31, verses 31. This is what God told us. Jeremiah 31, 31. It says, behold, the days come. This is the Old Testament. He's prophesying of something to come. And we are in those days. He said, behold, the days come, saith the Lord. I'll make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them out by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. Which covenant? They broke. Although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. Settle down, buddy. Stop annoying. He said, this is the covenant that I made. He said, after those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law, look at this, in their inward parts. So you don't have to have this thing memorized. Look how thick this book is. You think you can remember every little thing to know what to do and what not to do? That's a lot of stuff. So, to memorize this book, you'll never be able to memorize every good thing or bad thing. But let me tell you what you can do. You can look inside. Because God made a covenant with us. He said, I'll make a covenant with them. This will be the covenant. I'm gonna put my laws in their inward. You know what's right and you know what's wrong. You don't need no other outside person telling you you can't do this, or it's wrong to do that, or you're not, or you have to dress like this and you have to look like that and you have to do this and you have to go there and you don't need nobody telling you that, because what we are to do is right here. God put it there. He promised us that. That's the covenant. That I will put my law in their inward parts. I will write them in their hearts. It's right here. It's right here in my heart. I know what God wants me to do because He put it in my heart. I don't need anybody's approval. I don't need man's instruction. I don't need man's tradition. I don't need man's bylaws. I don't need man's laws to know how to serve God. All I need to do is say, God, what do you want me to do? And I just listen right here. Right here. This is where He's talking to me at. Right here. And a lot of people, you know, that's the thing we need to get in tune to. We need to get in tune because a lot of people, they want to hear from another person. To say, well, God says this and God says that. And sometimes He does speak through other people to tell us things. But we've got to, but how do you know if it's God telling you this if you don't know God here? If you know God here, then when someone from the outside says something, they'll connect with something right here. And that's the most important thing, is to know God right here. Right here. And to hear God right here. He said, I will put my law in their inward parts. I will write them in their hearts. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And He said, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord. Hey, know the Lord. Hey, do you know the Lord? Know the Lord. He said, they're not going to teach that no more. He said, why? He said, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them. Saith the Lord, and I will forgive their iniquities, and I will remember their sin no more. Whatever sin that we've done, whatever thing that we've done, God said, I won't remember that. I won't forgive them their iniquity, and I won't even remember. It'll be like it never happened. It's not even, and He's not even going to store that in His memory. It's done. It's gone. It's clean. It's washed. It's over with. It's done. It never happened. It may have happened, but it's like it never happened because God said He's not going to remember. He's not going to remember. But He said, they're going to know me from the least of them. So you don't have to be a big-time preacher. You don't have to be some high-fluting guy in society or some high-standing citizen in society. He said they're going to know me from the least to the greatest. There ain't no pope. There ain't no some great person that you got to go to talk to get connected with God. No, He said they're all going to know me. You don't have to say know the Lord. No, they're all going to know Him from the least to the greatest. If you want to know God, if I want to know God, if any of us wants to know God, He's talking to our hearts. He's right there. And let me tell you. Matter of fact, let me show you what Elijah experienced with God. In 1 Kings chapter 19. Let's look at how Elijah experienced God, and we can experience it the same way. 1 Kings chapter 19 says. 1 Kings chapter 19 verses 11 says, reads like this. It says, and he said, go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great strong wind rent the mountain. Can you imagine seeing some kind of a wind completely rent a mountain? Split a mountain and break it in pieces? The rocks from before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. So, in other words, what am I trying to say? What does that mean? You see, sometimes it's not always in the great big things that we look for. Sometimes people look for signs. They look for great, huge things. You see the wind. He's going, he's seeking after God, and the winds come through and rips the mountains and rocks in pieces. But he said God wasn't in that. He wasn't in the wind. And it said the Lord was not in the wind. And then we read, and it said, and after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. Like you're looking for God, and you see the wind, and you see this earthquake, and it's like, God, are you trying to say something? He said, the Lord, He wasn't in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. So you're seeing all these great things, and all these great events. God's not in it. And after the fire, listen to this. And after the fire, a still, small voice. That's what it was. It wasn't in the wind. It wasn't in the earthquake. It wasn't in the fire. It was in a still. Now look at that word still. Still is like, you've heard people say, be still. Be still. So still, to me, what I get from still is not even moving. It's not even emotion. It's not even, it's just still. And not only is it still, it's small. It's still and it's small. Not a movement, not an actively moving, and yet small voice.